Hi everyone, welcome to First Grade is Fun! We are so excited to have you with us today as we talk about first grade, things you may be able to expect, fun songs, books, and all fun things to get us ready for that big first day. I'm Miss Sylvia. I'm a children's instructor with the Miller branch of the Howard County Library System.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you're here today. My name is Miss Heidi, and I'm also at the Miller branch of the Howard County Library System. So hopefully you can come in and visit us. But as Miss Sylvia said, today we are celebrating you going into first grade. Yay! So you'll see that I have those words written out for me. First grade, that is you going into first grade. And we're going to be working through the letters that spell first grade to have you think about the different parts of first grade you might experience this year. So the first one, F, is for fun, because we are going to have a lot of fun in first grade, right, Miss Sylvia?
So, right, Miss Heidi. So F is for fun. We thought we'd do a fun activity to get us started, and it's going to be based off this book, Clothesline Clues to the First Day of School, written by Katherine Helling and Deborah Hembrook, and illustrated by Andy Robert Davies. So Miss Heidi has some clues for us, and our job is going to be to figure out who we might meet on the first day of school and while we're at school. All right, Miss Heidi.
Okay, here we go. Let me see. Ooh, what is that?
Oh,
That.
maybe
Uh-oh. Vest.
a vest,
Ooh, if it's cold or rainy outside.
gloves, and a hat.
Hat. Can you see that? There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
What do you think?
Someone who would be outside in all kinds of weather with a safety badge, maybe holding a stop sign, could be the crossing guard. Maybe you'd see the crossing guard while you're going to school. Awesome.
Yes, Miss Sylvia and everyone. All right, let's see if you can guess the next clues. This might be a little trickier because it's still, look at that, another jacket there.
Jacket.
Oh, maybe a brand new
Oh, a
shirt.
nice shirt.
Brand new shirt there. Oh, and someone might wear
A bow tie.
bow tie, very
Wow.
fancy. Uh-oh, this might be a big clue. A class roster. Who would have a class roster, Miss Sylvia?
A class roster, that's a list of everyone in the class, all of the students, and all dressed up so fancy. I think that would be your teacher. So maybe your teacher is wearing some of those things when you meet them on the first day.
Beautiful. I love that because they want to work hard to look nice for you too, everyone. Not just you are waiting to meet them. Okay, this one might be tricky, Miss Sylvia. We'll see if we can stump them. Here is an outfit.
A uniform. Interesting.
Pants and a shirt there. Ooh. Some
Recycling bin.
Someone has to pick up recycling and maybe use
A mop.
a mop
Someone's mop.
and some soap.
Soap.
What do you think about
Mopping
that?
the floor. Oh, that makes me think that they're tidying up and keeping things safe and clean and organized in the school. So I think that would be our custodians. Our custodians are such great helpers at school. You'll learn that when you meet them. Awesome.
They are always working to keep things clean and neat at school, Miss Sylvia, right?
That's right.
All right, let me see here. Oh my goodness, there might be a lot of things for this last clue, Miss Sylvia.
Ooh.
Oh, I have a couple shirts and jackets. Maybe some pants.
Oh, pants,
and
a dress.
Oh, and a couple of
Backpacks.
backpacks.
Ooh,
Oh my goodness. And maybe even more dresses and
so many
clothes.
different clothing
Could
options.
that be?
The backpack really makes me think that those people would be your new friends. Friends that you'll meet at school. Look, they have all different types of clothing on and backpacks, and they are ready for school. That was a good clue. Thank you, Miss Heidi, for helping me with that activity. I wonder who you think you may meet when you get to school. We read about some of the options, but there's plenty other people that you may come across. So we can't wait to hear all about it. You'll visit the library and tell us. That's clothesline clues to the first day of school.
Thank you
Right.
so much, Miss Sylvia. And that was F for fun. We hope you had
Yes.
fun playing that activity with us. And we hope you're going to have fun on the first day of school too. So our next letter is I, and the word for I is inclusive. We want to include everyone on the first day of school. So I have a book here. It's called You Are Enough, a book about inclusion. And this is written by Margaret O'Hare. And this book is so important because it talks about how you need to be kind and to be brave, and most important, to be you, the very special you are. And inside this book, there's all kinds of friends. There's people in wheelchairs, people from different countries, people who have maybe Down syndrome, and they are enough, and you are enough. So let's be inclusive on that first day of first grade.
Thank you, Miss Heidi. Another book that I wanted to share with you too about being inclusive. This is one of my favorites. It's called The Cool Bean. It's by Jory John and Pete Oswald. You may recognize some of the illustrations. It's pretty similar to The Bad Seed and The Good Egg. It's another book by the same author and illustrator team. And The Cool Bean is all about ways that everyone can be helpful. And being cool means taking care of your friends. So in this story, the cool beans help everyone out. And this is an example here. He says, he fell down and he says, "Do you need a hand?" And he says, "Yes, please." That's what it means to be cool. If you see others who need help, you help them. That's what cool beans do.
I love that, Miss Sylvia. Be a cool bean, right? That is being inclusive, friends. Okay, we move on to the R in first grade. Sometimes you may get really tired when you're going through all those new things in first grade. You might need a rest. R is for rest, right, Miss Sylvia?
That's right. And one way that you can rest is by doing different relaxation or mindfulness activities to help give your brain a rest, because your brain is taking in a lot of new things and learning so much. A book that helps us with that is called Peaceful Like a Panda. It's by Kira Willie and illustrated by Annie Betts. And this book has so many different fun exercises that you can use if you need to give your brain a rest and give your body a rest so you can learn all that you're meant to learn at school. Miss Heidi,
Exactly.
you're going to share one with us?
Yes. And one of those exercises in here, and there's so many boys and girls, is called the puppy shake. Here it is. So I'm going to read it, and we are going to do the puppy shake as we read. Are you ready? Are you ready, Miss Sylvia?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Imagine you are a puppy and you've just had a bath. You've had a bath, so of course you're all wet. Okay, give your head a shake. Try to get that water out of your head. Give your shoulders tiny shakes. Shake those shoulders, trying to get rid of all that water. Okay, now give your arms a medium shake. Shake your arms. Stretch them out a little bit. How about your legs? Give those legs a shake, a big shake. Shake out that water. All right, give your whole body a shake. Whole body puppy shake. Shake, 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 shake. Oh, what about, can you shake your tail? Okay, shake your tail. You can shake your tail. There you go. Shake your tail. Whoo, shake, 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 little puppy. Okay, start to slow down now. Not so much shaking, slower shaking. Slow down a little more, a little bit more. Now hold your body still. Breathe in and breathe out. And if you need to do that again, you can do that again. So this exercise helps you get some movement in the middle of a busy day, but then rest at the end and go back to being ready for learning. I love these exercises, Miss Sylvia. And did you know, just so you know, the same author has other books out like Breathe Like a Bear by Kyra Willie, but they come in DVD form so that you can watch some of these things. And that is very fun. So there's a couple of her books. I hope you enjoy them and get lots of rest. Okay, now we have S, the letter S. Of course, if you're in first grade, you're going to have a lot of stories, right, Miss Sylvia?
Yes, this is one of my favorite parts of school, and especially first grade. You're going to be listening and reading a lot of stories. You're going to be writing your own stories and being an author. And one book that gives us a lot of information about that, well, it's a story, but it tells us about that. This is called A Squiggly Story. It's written by Andrew Larson and Mike Lowry, and it's about this little boy who really wants to be able to tell his own story, but he's still learning how to write letters. And so he feels a little nervous at first, but he has a great big sister who helps encourage him to try his best to write stories. And you know what? He just starts with what he knows. He starts with the letters he knows for the word I, and he writes I and draws pictures and adds other letters. And he really thinks about what he wants to say so that he can draw pictures to add to his story. So here he started drawing some V's, but they're supposed to represent the waves of the ocean because that's part of his story. So even though he's still learning how to write and read, he's still able to be an author and an illustrator. And this is a good book to teach you to keep on trying, even if you're not sure about reading and writing yet. You will learn so much in first grade. The other thing I wanted to share with you is some resources that we offer at the library. I'm going to share my screen very quickly so that you can see. And this handout is going to be attached to our class registration. So that way you can see all the books that we're talking about here, and you'll be able to tell the website that you can visit. So here, when you go to home and youth and educators in elementary school for ages 5 through 10, which is you because you're in first grade, you'll see all these different resources that the library offers for learning from home. And on the other side is our resource list of all the different books and videos that we've showed you so that you can check them out and learn more about school at home. All right.
Cool. So many stories, right? At the library, Miss Sylvia, so many
That's
stories
right.
to be learning and reading at school. So the last letter of first is T for teacher. Guess what? You're so busy getting ready for the first day of school. You're preparing, you're getting your backpack and maybe some supplies together. But have you ever thought that your teacher needs to be ready too? I love this book. This is called How to Get Your Teacher Ready by Jean Regan. You need to learn how to get your teacher ready too. For instance, here's a picture. It's like, make her feel welcome with an extra big smile. Look at that smile back there. That is so important to smile at your teacher to make her feel welcome. Maybe you can sing her a song, or you can ask, I know where the bathroom is. Do you know where the bathroom is? And you can help her find the bathroom. So many things will be happening on the first day of school. You might need to help your teacher be ready too. Right, Miss Sylvia?
And this book that I wanted to share with you is called Hooray for Teachers. It's by L. Parks, and it talks about all the great important work that teachers do. And this gives us information about it, about teachers. There's a table of contents that has different chapters. And what we're going to take a look at is just the first chapter. It's a basic overview. It says, teachers help students. And they help students by teaching students new things, and they work at schools. You see a picture here, a photograph of a teacher helping a student. The other cool thing I wanted to show you from this book is the back. There is like a glossary. It says teacher tools here, and it shows all the different types of tools that you may see in your classroom, and they talk about them throughout the book too. One of them is this, a desk that your teacher will help you learn from. We'll talk a little bit about that later. And then this picture glossary talks about different parts of the day and things that teachers do to help you at school. So this book gives a lot of good information. Hooray for teachers.
Teachers need to be celebrated, right, Miss Sylvia?
That's right.
Okay, so we finished the first in first grade. Now we go on to the G. So important to have goals. That is our G word, right, Miss Sylvia? So important to have goals.
Goals, yes, are things that we're trying to get done, trying to get accomplished. What do you want to learn in first grade? What do we want to become better at? There's so many things to choose from, and you'll learn that once you get to school. One book that helps keep us confident and motivated is called The OK Book. It's by Amy Krauss Rosenthal and Tom Lichtenhelm. And this book is all about okay. Look at that. Okay, when you turn it this way, kind of looks a little bit like a person. And in this book, okay talks about how they're learning how to do so many different things. And right now, they're just okay at it. They're okay at riding their bike. They're okay at running really fast, or writing, or sharing stories. And that's okay because we're all learning. And here it says, one day I'll grow up to be really excellent at something, really excellent. Just don't know what that is yet. And that's okay. As long as you're trying your best, that's what's important. So this is a great book to check out if you want to learn more about that, about goals.
I love that. And one goal to remember, boys and girls, is to try your best. But sometimes when you try your best, things don't always work. So this book helps with that. It's okay to make mistakes. You will be making mistakes the rest of your life, boys and girls, I'm sorry to say. But you know what? It is okay. This book is by Todd Parr, and it has some really good illustrations about some mistakes that happen to us. It's okay if you spill your milk, right? You can clean it up. It's okay. And one more, this is a really good thing. When you're in school, sometimes you won't know the answer. It's okay not to know the answer, because then you can ask good questions, right? Always follow up a mistake or not knowing something with a good question to get your answer. So you need to know that it is okay to make mistakes. I like that. You have one more, right, Miss Sylvia?
I do. Mistakes are proof that we're learning because we're trying, and that's great. The last book I wanted to share is this book, Beautiful Oops by Barney Salzberg. And this book is so cool because it really talks about how you can take pretty much any mistake you make and turn it into something good. And it says, oops, look at this. The paper's torn, but you can turn it into a beautiful picture and think about a way you can reuse it. A torn piece of paper could just be the beginning of some awesome artwork. And this really, I related a lot to this because I remember when I was at school, I had this happen a lot. Sometimes when I was really trying hard to erase or write, I'd get some holes in my paper. It can be pretty frustrating, but holes in your paper, they're fun to explore. Who knows? Who knows what it can turn into? You can create so many cool things from that. So it's important to remember that even if you make mistakes, like Miss Heidi said, that shows that you're trying, and everybody makes mistakes. So we just still keep trying to achieve our goals, and sometimes we have to do things more than once, and that's okay.
That is very okay, as long as you are trying to do your best. Okay, that was G. R. We had rest for the other R. This R is for routines. We are going to be going through a lot of different things every day of first grade. So one good book for that is On the First Day of First Grade. And this book is so cool, boys and girls, because if you sing it, it would sound like another song we know from holidays. But this is the first day of first grade. This is by Trish Raby. And some of the things of routines that you want to get used to doing, look, getting ready on the first day of first grade. On the first day of first grade, having fun right away is so important. Like we talked about, that first letter F, fun, have fun. That's a good routine word to have. You want to laugh and learn all day. On the first day of first grade, look at everyone, all laughing and learning. And another one, and this could also be a goal too, Miss Sylvia, helping in my classroom. But if you let learning and laughing and helping in your classroom become routine for you, you are going to have a great year of first grade. So that was on the first day of first grade. For our routines.
Awesome, Miss Heidi, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, I think we are on A. Are we on A?
Yes, we are.
A for activity and action. We thought we need to do a little movement break so you guys don't just sit and listen to us all the time. So we are going to do a very fun song that you will know as soon as I start it. But be ready. When Miss Sylvia does it, she might mix things up just a little bit. So here we go. Head and shoulders, knees and toes. Okay, ready? Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and a mouth and your nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Okay.
All right, let's see how we do now. I like to mix it up and add in some other body parts while we're working on head, shoulders, knees, and toes. We're gonna follow the same tune, but we're gonna have to see if we can keep it in our brain, the mixed up version. So I'll show you first what we'll do. Eyes, chin, head and ears, head and ears. Eyes, chin, head and ears, head and ears. Fingers, nose, shoulders and elbows.
Wow.
Eyes, chin, head and ears. So we're going to do it again now, all together, a little faster. So let's see. Here we go. Eyes, chin, head and ears, head and ears. Eyes, chin, head and ears, head and ears. Fingers, nose, shoulders and elbows. Eyes, chin, head and ears, head and ears. It's so silly, but so fun.
That was so much fun. You really mixed that up for everyone. That was great because I really had to think through that to let everyone know I did not know what Miss Sylvia was going to do. So I was learning along with all of you. Do you want to end with just a real fast version of head, shoulders, knees, and toes? Just
Yes,
so
let's
everyone
do
can be moving, ready for the rest. Here we go. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and your nose. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Good job. Hopefully that got you moving, everyone, for your activity break and your action break. Good job. Okay, we are moving on to D. Very important. I think Miss Sylvia mentioned this word earlier, your desk. Last year, you might not have had a desk if you were learning from home. So this year, you're going to have your very own desk, right, Miss Sylvia?
That's right. And your desk is like one of your special places in your classroom because it's just for you and you store your belongings in it. So here's a picture of the desk again. You see there's a chair with it. And a lot of times there's some storage space that you can put your belongings in for your desk. And so one of the things I wanted to do is to show you some of the things you may have to bring to school, some of your school supplies. This is my daughter's backpack. She's going into first grade too. So we were able to look through some of her materials to help us get ready. Maybe you'll need to have some folders for your desk and for your things. You store a lot of papers in here when you're doing your best work at school. So that way we take care of it and it doesn't get lost. You'll also have journals that you're writing in. This is for all your stories and your best work that you'll be doing throughout the day. And another thing that you may have that may be a little new to you is this. It's called a school box or a pencil box. And inside is where you keep all of your supplies. And it's really helpful to keep them nice and tidy so you can find things. You may be using markers, you may be using scissors. You need to keep these in a safe place, right? You'll be writing with pencils, have glue sticks, crayons, colored pencils. First grade is when you get to start to explore lots of big kid materials, and your job is to be responsible and respect your space. So the other thing I wanted to show you is this book. It's a great book. It's called Respect and Take Care of Things. It's by Sherry J. Miners, and it's all about being respectful of your belongings, because if you take care of things, they'll last longer and you'll always know where they are when you need them. So respecting spaces is good for everyone, and that's what this book talks about. And this book is actually part of a larger series. She has books on all different types of topics, like telling the truth and being honest, being polite and kind. So you should check this out if you want to read about things you could learn about school, home, and other places. So those are things I wanted to share about desks. And Ms. Heidi's going to tell us something else about another supply we may need.
Yes, one more supply, boys and girls. I'm sure you're used to what this is by now when you go out to stores and things. But if you're going to a Howard County public school for first grade, you will need your mask. You'll still need to wear your mask. Sometimes you might think it makes it hard to talk in there, or hard to have your teacher understand you. Or what if you're new and no one knows if you're smiling or not? There is a really special book. It's called Sharing a Smile. This is written by Nikki Kramer. Look at that. They have masks on in the pictures, but somehow she is still able to share a smile with everyone she meets. So I love that book because we want you to be able to make new friends with your new teachers and your new classmates, so you can always share a smile without a mask or with a mask on. So be ready for that. D for desk. I can't believe it. We're already on the last letter, Miss Sylvia. E, the very end of the word grade, E. This is for emotions. It could be for a lot of things, but you're going to have so many mixed emotions and feelings on that first day of school. You might feel a little scared or really happy and really excited. What do you think? Okay. And one of those things could be being nervous. Every time I had to start a new school, I was very nervous. So one book says first grade jitters. Jitters is another word for feeling nervous. And I love that this is just for first graders. This is by Robert Quackerbush. And it talks about being nervous on that very first day. He's not even sure he wants to go. Mom says, I have first grade jitters. It's not true. I'm the same. He doesn't think he's nervous, but he doesn't feel like eating. It's hard for him to go to sleep. He doesn't want to get new shoes and new school supplies. So sometimes it might be hard for you to admit that you're nervous, boys and girls, and that's okay. You can still be a little bit scared to go to first grade. This book may help you. We'll see how he feels at the end of the book. And you have another one, Miss Sylvia, right?
This book is pretty similar. It's called Harry's First Day Jitters. It's by Latasia Williams and illustrated by Zaire Harvey. And this is Harry, and he is feeling similar to the character in Miss Heidi's book, a little nervous about first grade and not sure what to expect. And so he has questions. He's wondering, what if the work is too hard? What if I don't make any friends? What if I get so much homework that it never ends? These are some of the things he's nervous about, and you may be feeling that way too. But you know what? He counts down, and as he gets closer, he starts thinking about things that he's good at to motivate himself. He says, I'm smart, I'm creative, I'm gifted, and I'm proud. And those are things that he wants to keep in his brain as he starts school, because that will help him be prepared. So he tries his best. And who knows, you'll read to find out what happens at the end. Is it even worth being nervous? We'll have to see.
But hopefully for E, you're also just more excited about first grade. We are so excited for you. Do we have a special cheer for them, Miss Sylvia?
We do. So this one is short and sweet, but it's called First Grade is Awesome. And when we do awesome, we're going to hit on our chests like this and go awesome. Okay, here we go. Ready? First grade is awesome.
Yay! Let's try that one more time. Here we go, Miss Sylvia. First grade is awesome. We hope you shout that as loud as you can when you're watching this class because you are ready. Right, Miss Sylvia?
Right. Thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to hear from you how great first grade is. Come visit us and tell us all about it. We know you will be great. So we will see you next time. Bye.